Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for tuning into our broadcast today. I am your co-host, Errecca Walker, and we're here in the studio also with Mr. Derrick Williams. Mr. Raymond Hall is not with us at this very moment, but he will be expected shortly. We look forward to our exciting and new topic today, which is a topic that we are revisiting from last week, which is with Mr. Williams concerning Chapter 31.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to really dig in into the meat and potatoes of it. And so Mr. Hall asked if I would come back so that we can really set forth the guidelines and the eligibility and who's entitled so that veterans and their dependents can see if they believe that they qualify and take advantage of the benefits that are available to them.
Thanks so much, Mr. Williams. We're looking forward to that information. Right now, we'd just like to say that the Raymond Hall Show is broadcasting from the Morris Media Studios located in the historic landmark Leimert Park community in Los Angeles, California.
Ooh.
Ooh, ooh. Also, our show is about service. It is service that affords us the liberties that we have today, and the lack of willingness to give service that denies the ability to serve for the future of generations. So those serving and those abroad that are even thinking of taking up the flag and serving our country, we say thank you and we appreciate you for your endeavors and for the future of your endeavors, because it is a really a monumental task that you take on when you decide to serve your country in any manner, whether it be from the military service, any of the branches, the Army, the Navy,
Air Force, Marines.
The Air Force, the
Coast
Marines,
Guard.
Coast Guard, right. There's a wide range of branches that you can serve for. In addition to serving your neighbor, serving your parents, and just looking forward to what you can do with your hands to be helpful to any individual that you feel that needs service in your community or even in your home. So thanks for joining us. We look forward to this in-depth conversation regarding Chapter 31 with Mr. Derrick Williams.
Yeah, and about servitude, Mr. Hall, who's a huge servant.
Yes, he is.
And when you look at communities and stuff like that, oftentimes you see the community starting to go down when the people of that community stop serving the community.
Absolutely.
So I would say that if you're alive and you're breathing, you have a portion of your health.
A portion.
There's something that you can do to be of service to someone else. It doesn't have to be big, and I think that oftentimes that's the issue. Is people think that you have to do something major to be of service.
Right.
But just giving someone a glass of water when they're in need.
Just a phone call, even just a minor phone call to say, how are you doing? Is there anything that I can do for you? People really appreciate it. They may not say it, but it's something that is dire. It's in dire need right now in the climate that we're in.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, it's almost like forgiveness. It's like oftentimes when you forgive someone, you're actually releasing yourself.
Yes.
And that's what service is. When you service other people, you actually build yourself. And I think that people miss that point, and they think that service is just about just giving. But when you give, you receive tenfold, hundredfold. And I think that that's something that we could all be reminded of from time to time.
Exactly. Also, I'd like to give out a shout to one of the young ladies. She's an entrepreneur. She's a business owner. Her name is Miss Ann. She is located on Manchester Boulevard, and she is introducing a new store to us, and the store is called The White House by Miss Ann. Now, you probably wonder, the White House, not the White House in D.C., but the White House on Manchester Boulevard. Let me give you her address so that you can go over and you can take a look at Miss Ann's new introduction to her many other stores that she has there at 2635 West Manchester Boulevard, Inglewood, California, 90303. And the beautiful thing about the White House is that every single item that is in the White House is white.
I was about to ask what type of items do they have over at the White House?
She has apparel and accessories, and she has evening wear, she has sportswear, and she has an outfit for each and every person. Like, if you don't leave out of Miss Ann's store with something, especially the White House, you're not shopping because she has all bases covered. So again, I just want to give out a shout out to Miss Ann over on 2635 West Manchester Boulevard, Inglewood, California, and her new introduction to her apparel is the White House by Miss Ann.
Okay, so you want to go into a music break and then
we'll be right back with you. Thank you. Welcome back to all of our to all of our listening guests, family, and friends. What a treat to have you back again.
Oh! When you guys said that, I was expecting somebody else to walk through the door. I was like, "Hey, who's in here?
Yes,
I don't know about."
our guests, all the people that are listening on the internet, they're all there listening, waiting to see, what's up next, what we have coming up. So next, we just like to say once again, thank you to Morris Media Studios, which is a state-of-the-art studio, and they're providing us a beautiful and wonderful platform for diverse programming to reach out to the communities throughout the world. And we just appreciate them so much. Also, we had an overwhelming response at our last opportunity that we were here with you to bring back Mr. Derrick Williams regarding Chapter 31. So right now I'm just going to give him the floor and let him give us this vital information that we all need.
Yeah, before I get into the Chapter 31 and talk about the benefits, the thing I want to say to veterans, to dependents, whether it be spouse or children, and that is if the service member if you have their DD-214, if you have their service disconnection rating, their rating, I highly recommend that you go to a VSO, which is a Veterans Service Office, or that you go into the VA hospital for benefits. And the reason being is because I've spent 23 years in the military, and when I got out of the military, I was clueless as to what benefits I actually qualified for. I knew that there were benefits, but I didn't know, one, what they were, and two, how to access them.
Okay.
And so as time has gone on, I've learned more and more about benefits by networking with other veterans who have taken advantage of benefits and have informed me of what those benefits are. And so the reason why I say go to the VSO or other organizations like VFW, which is the Veterans of Foreign War, or American Legion, is because they know what benefits are out there.
Okay.
Not only do they know what benefits are out there, but they know how to get you from point A to B to C.
Okay.
Because a lot of times it could be kind of overwhelming, filling out all the paperwork.
Yes.
It could be overwhelming trying to dig through and cut all the red tape, because the reality is that while the benefits are there, they really don't want you to
get them,
take advantage of them.
Wow.
So
that's why we're so grateful for you to be here, so that this is a part of cutting through the red tape and having the information before you walk through the door.
Right.
Very
So, but they can work with you one-on-one.
Okay.
They can, like I said, walk you through the process. And if they don't know the answer, they know who they can send you to answer the questions that you need, because we're going to be talking general.
Okay, this is general information.
We're going to be talking general information that you probably could look it up on Google and find the same information.
Okay.
Which I recommend. But if you forget anything else I say today, you can always go to a Veteran Service Office. Don't forget that.
Don't forget that's
VSO, Veteran Service Office.
Very, very important information right there.
Yeah. So Chapter 31, and sometimes people get, it's called Vocational Rehabilitation and Education Program. So oftentimes when you hear Chapter 31, people automatically jump to the education portion of it.
Okay.
But Chapter 31 is not an education program.
It's not.
No, it's a rehabilitation program.
Okay.
That has an educational component
to it.
Right, for the veteran.
Okay.
So sometimes you hear stuff like the Montgomery GI Bill, for example, Chapter 33. Or you hear Chapter 35, which is for dependents.
Okay.
Those are all just education programs. But this one is a rehabilitation program.
For the veteran.
For veterans and even active duty service people who have who have a disability.
Okay.
And need to be rehabilitated in order to get a job.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to put that out there before we began to kind of move forward. So the first thing with Chapter 31 is that there is a basic period of eligibility.
Okay.
And there's two ways that's established. Okay. So it's usually 12 years from either the time that you were separated from the military, from active service.
Okay.
Or from the time that you were first rated, your disability rating from the Veterans Administration.
Okay, there's a 12-year period in time that you can process this rehabilitation portion of the Chapter 31.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you got off active duty 18 years ago and you didn't meet that 12-year window,
you don't qualify.
Then your eligibility period has ran out.
Okay.
So the best analogy I would use is every year you got to do your
taxes,
your insurance
and your tax.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to do your taxes too.
You must do that.
Yeah. But you like for coverage for your insurance,
right?
And so if you want to change your insurance or you want to take advantage of insurance, there's a period where you have to
opt in or out.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so it's the same thing, that it's a 12-year period from the date that you either left the military or the date that you received your disability rating from the Veterans Administration. And the latest date is 12 years from that date.
Okay, so that's very, very important information. So to all of our listeners that are listening right now, this is vital. There is a blackout period time after the 12 years. And there are two different dates, the separation date as well as the date that you received the orders of your disability.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so one of the ways that you can play that to your advantage, if you will. So let's say, for example, you left the military, and let's say it's 13 years since you left the military, so you no longer qualify because of that period.
Okay.
But what you can do is, if you don't already have your disability rating, then what you do is start the process for your disability rating. Go to the Veterans Administration, and we'll talk more about how you get your rating.
Okay.
And then once you go in there and you get that rating, and they give you that 20% rating,
right,
it restarts that 12-year period.
Oh, very informative.
Yeah, it's the latter of the two dates.
The latter of the two dates.
Right. So if you got out and you didn't get a disability rating, then I highly encourage you
to return to get that rating.
To get the rating.
And then that rating will start a new period, time frame.
Right.
Okay.
It'll give you 12 years. And if you don't do it on the second 12 years, then I don't know what to tell you.
That's your bad at that point.
I don't know what to tell you. That means you must really don't want your benefits.
Right. And you don't need the rehabilitation, because this is all about getting the veterans back into the workforce. Because if you come home from service and you want to reestablish yourself in the community, then you may have to go in for some sort of rehabilitation, and this allows you that opportunity.
Absolutely. So those are two things to keep in mind, two dates to keep in mind. But if you don't have a disability rating, and you have a service-connected disability, you need to go in and get it done for a whole plethora of reasons.
Okay.
Because you could be collecting disability checks. You could be get other benefits that you're eligible for, but you will never get until you get that rating. That rating is
very, very important.
Oh yeah, that rating is almost as important as your Social Security number.
Wow.
As far as you're concerned, that rating is almost as important as your Social Security number as far as a veteran is concerned, because it opens up a lot of doors. It opens up a lot of windows. It opens up a lot of things,
Okay, well, thanks a lot for that information. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a break, and we will be returning with our host, Mr. Raymond Hall, and some more vital information to give to all you listeners out there. Thanks a lot. We'll see you in 2 or 3 minutes. Bye.
Well, thank you so very much, and thank you to Miss Errecca and Mr. Derrick. My name is Raymond Hall, and as you all know, this is the Raymond Hall Show. I am so glad to be living in the time that we're living in. The medical advances that we have had is absolutely amazing.
Yes, sir.
This is a special period for me. Every day I have is a special period with this heart transplant. But I got to share a story with you right quick. And anybody that don't like stories, you're listening to the wrong show. Because you're going to hear a story after the Raymond Hall Show. 16 years ago, during this period, my heart had failed to the point where I had to have a mechanical device to keep me alive. It was called a HeartMate. And they put this device in your chest, and hoses came out of your side, unlike today's thing where it's portable and you can go home with it. 16 years ago, you had to stay in the hospital.
Right.
And so I had that surgery on the 17th of April 2000 and didn't get the transplant until June the 6th. So it's that whole period every year that I think about. I had to drag hoses around everywhere, but I was thankful because I was still living. So all of the things that comes with that is some of the things that I have to deal with every day. And sometimes a day goes a little bit better than others, but it's still a day. So I said that to say this. If you want to complain about what you have, look at what happens if somebody would take away what you have. Right. And then let's see what you'd have something to talk about. Even though I'm running a little late, there's some things that we have to do. This show is all about service, and we want to make sure that everyone understands the importance of service. All of us come from diverse backgrounds. Let's be clear about that. My experiences is not someone else's experiences, and those experiences could be my next door neighbor. Some of the experiences we have are inside of our own families, and our experiences inside of our own families. This is not the same experiences, but service is the key factor, because when you leave, the only thing that's going to remain is your service.
Yes, sir.
And we can hardly believe sometimes, how did people put up with this and how did people put up with that? And the way they put up with it, they were living out the required service of their life at the time.
Right.
Okay. So here we are able to be in this beautiful studio, and every time I come through the Lamert area and see all of the things going on, I'm just happy I'm living in this time. Some people don't know what an outhouse is, and I'm not going to explain it to you. If you don't know, you don't need to know, but just know that you ain't living in the time of the outhouse.
Yeah, I saw it in a movie once.
You saw it in a movie once?
Yes.
That's about as close as you want to get.
It was not a good thing, okay?
It's not a good thing. It was a necessary thing.
It's very necessary.
Yeah, but it wasn't a good thing. Okay, very scary thing for a little kid, too. All right. So there are some services that are very visible to us all. Mm-hmm. And one of the services that's very visible to us all, and it's one that we're always going to recognize here on the Raymond Hall Show, is the service that's given by those that are serving in the active military all over the nation. It requires a special kind of person because it requires somebody that's commendable.
Yes.
You have to be commendable to be in service. If you're not commendable,
it's a must.
It's a must. You can't. Don't even go that way if you're not commendable.
If you can't follow a direction or a direct order, or that's not the place for you.
That's not the place for you. Because you're going to be given a direct order, and you're going to be given a direct order by somebody that you really don't even like, and you just don't like what they're telling you to do or anything else. But it's called a direct order for a reason. Mm-hmm. And that reason is that you are going to have to follow that order. And so that means that you're going to have to be commendable. So those persons who give service, and that service starts by being commendable, we here at the Raymond Hall Show want to recognize that valuable service. Think of yourself as a fiber. And when you bring fibers together, you'll have a thread. Let's call that neighbor. And when you bring neighbors together, you have a community. So you can call that a community. And then when you have communities together, you can call that a neighborhood. And you can have neighborhoods and cities and states and everything. Well, the people that are commendable and serving actively all over the globe, they are the ones that's affording us the liberty. Some people say a cliche, it's the blanket of freedom.
Right.
That's a very real thing.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that's the whole point of the Raymond Hall Show. It's a very real thing. Service is a very real thing. So whether your service is a service of a neighbor, make sure you carry out that service. If that's your assigned duty, carry out that service. If your service is that of something that's very difficult, now I'm not talking about your job, okay?
This is in addition to your job. This is in addition to that.
Your service is something that you've given a talent for.
Yes.
Right.
And when you give that, when that talent is what equips you to carry out that service, it gives you the ability to carry out that service.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Right.
Sometimes patience is an ability.
Not sometimes, all the time. You need to have patience in order to render service, because there are some services that some people just simply won't do, and then there are other services that's what they were bred and born to do.
That's absolutely correct.
So there is a difference.
Well, I say some service because I'm telling you, I ain't got no patience for that 405.
Exactly.
That freeway lock service like mine. Give me another duty. Okay. All right. So the people who are serving in the active military, you can disagree or agree with the assignment. That's not the job of the soldier. The soldier is just to be commendable and carry out the commands that they're given. Those who give the orders, they are going to have to be responsible for the orders that they give. But even more importantly, they allow us the liberty and the freedom to be of service.
Yeah.
You know, we're here sitting in a studio and we're talking about things. We're able to talk about veterans' benefits. But if you roll the clock back, those benefits were built out of people giving service, because the benefits that we have today weren't always available.
Say that again.
It just wasn't always available. Matter of fact, the benefits that we have today still might not be available if you don't know about them.
Exactly.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So somebody has to be of service at every corner. And that's why it's important. We want you to go to a senior salute. The Raymond Hall Show talks about service. Those who don't know, we want to introduce service to them.
Absolutely.
Those who know of service, we want to reintroduce service to them in case that they have grown weary of what service is truly about. And then those who are constantly giving service, we want to have a conversation so we can invigorate them to have conversations as well, to keep talking about service. Service is the key to what says communities, and this nation is nothing but a collective of communities.
That's what it is.
Whether the nation is going to continue to give service so we can continue to move forward to see the liberties available to all everywhere in this nation.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Mr. Hall, I would like to also add to the whole thing about service. And, you know, if you're alive and you're breathing, you have ability. I mean, that's innate within us. But to be of service, you need availability.
Availability.
You know, when you're available for whatever it is, the ability will come out to get it done. But part of the issue is oftentimes when you find communities going down, when you find things not being handled, is because people are not making themselves available.
Correct.
It's so caught up into their own life, so caught up into their own worries and woe is me, and just overwhelmed that we stop becoming available. But when you become available, then you can be used.
That's correct.
It'll actually even increase your ability.
That's correct. One of the things that we need to speak about, and that's probably a topic for another show. One of the things we must all admit, it's profitable for people not to be of service.
Gotcha.
Come again on that.
It's profitable for people to not be of service, and it's profitable. And I'll say this to you: it's in your face. All of these things are in your face all the time. The man who puts money in a company and invests in the stock, he wants more money than the people who work in the company.
Right.
That's a little backwards. Think about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
You have to think about some things, and everyone know me, so don't get on your horse calling me. I don't want to hear it. Okay. My service period was from 1971 to 1973, United States Marine Corps. So go play in somebody else's backyard. But it's insulting to me personally when we look at the strength and the posture of mothers. Every time you see great achievements or great advances in this nation, you have seen women at work.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and the empowerment of women at work.
That's right.
Yeah.
So to build something that kills a whole bunch of people and call it the mother?
The mother? Yeah, why would you need
the mother of all bombs?
When a mother is about birthing.
Okay, Raymond. You getting ready to get on your soapbox, so leave that one alone. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I'm saying we must take a look at what people
subliminally that they're saying to us.
That's correct.
Right.
Exactly.
And what you must do is you must take the posture of a person that says, I will have service.
Right.
And you must be versatile enough to put on the uniform of service that's required. Mm-hmm. If you get on a bus and you see someone, a disabled person,
right,
someone with a handful of bags, the uniform for you now is to get up out of that seat and let someone else take that seat. Just a simple uniform of getting up out of a seat.
Right.
So service is not just, even though we thank those who are serving in the active military and thank first responders, you know, it takes something for somebody to go somewhere where somebody is in crisis.
Right, yes. Where people are running from, and then you have the people that are running to this same location.
That's correct.
Those people are the people that we know have service deep down inside of them, because who else would do that? When I'm leaving the scene, they're on their way to the scene to perform a service.
Yes.
Which is what we're speaking of.
Well, it's two aspects. Number one, they getting paid. I ain't going to say that.
Right.
They getting paid to do that job.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the job. I'm talking about the service. Emergency responders are responding to a crisis.
Yes.
It's a crisis going on.
Correct.
To respond to a crisis requires service. To get up and go where they call you, that's your job.
Right.
But to respond to a crisis, have to respond and there's a house full of crying people, to have to respond to a scene and there's horrific hurt and harm, that's a crisis situation. When they were looking to go into Iraq, there was an interesting paper that the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, somebody wrote that war was harmful to human beings.
Duh.
Who wrote that? Captain Obvious?
I had no idea, but it was is that what you spending the money on? You know, you got all of these. So service is something that you separate from the money part of it.
Okay.
Now, where are we going with this? America asks out of its communities to send us your best. Mm-hmm. I was a Marine. They you were a Marine.
Hoorah!
Hoorah! The few, the proud.
The Marines.
The Marines.
Wow.
Somebody else says a global force of one. You know, it's they're asking for the best that the communities has to offer in service to the nation. So the reason that I committed myself to lend my voice to issues that are important, senior issues, veterans issues, is because those 6 years I waited in that transplant, I heard the voice of seniors that didn't nobody know their story. Men who served through World War II, Korean War, and these things. Men who helped build parks and schools and everything else, and nobody knew it.
Right.
Men who didn't make what's the thing the president do? Tweet. They never tweeted.
But they didn't have tweets.
I was saying, what does he do?
Right.
Yeah, but
Twitter wasn't in existence at that time.
That's not the point.
Right.
The point is they didn't wave a banner and make noise about what it did.
Right.
They just, with their lives, they served
They sprung
the
into
nation
action.
and continued to serve in the community.
That's what they
That's
did.
the point.
Right.
So with the Raymond Hall Show and with the Senior Salute and with the innovative housing services that we do, we are going to pay attention to how they afforded us benefits through that quiet service. So the Raymond Hall Show talks about service. It tells you the importance of service. A Senior Salute gives you a demonstration of what service looks like.
Okay.
Right.
A Senior Salute is a community celebration where we read their record of service, and in dress blue, the Marine walks across the stage and gives them a salute. It's a Senior Salute, and a young person who's the benefactor of their service in the community gives them a plaque. So the Raymond Hall Show talks about it. The Senior Salute shows it to you.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too, Mr. Hall, because one thing I find common among people who really have the heart of service is they don't wave a banner saying, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Right.
You know, services, they usually do it in a very quiet, just way. And so oftentimes the service goes unnoticed.
Okay.
And so something like the Senior Salute and what you do is saying, no. It's important that
To
their service
recognize.
be acknowledged.
And recognize that.
Because if it's not acknowledged, then some people, like there's other people looking at them who can say, I can pick up that banner when this person is no longer serving.
That's correct.
You know, and so I think that it needs to be highlighted.
Well, if you don't show children to a degree, they won't know.
Right.
We ask a lot of children. When I was a kid, it was 3 channels, maybe. I won't name them because we won't promote it.
Yes.
But it wasn't that many. And then after that, you wasn't going to look at it that long.
Right. No,
You
what
had
about
that
when it
homework.
went off?
It went off.
It went
And the
off.
TV went off at the end of the night.
Had that flag.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those days are long gone. Okay.
So our children have many things calling for their attention. But when you ask a child to ask their neighbors or their family or their friends, did you serve in service, and have you served in the community? And the kids write these stories
Okay.
and submits the essays. And if they are selected, then some college or higher institution help them to rewrite it so it will be presentable and legible when you read it in the audience of the Senior Salute. But everybody gets to hear this story, and it inspires some. There's a young man, I won't call his name, but he presented the plaque, maybe about 10 or more than 10 years ago when I first started, at Cal State Dominguez. He's in the Navy now. And he always looks us up, and he said he's going to be the first person that was a kid and awarded the plaque and going to be an old man and
to
get the
receive
plaque.
his plaque. Okay.
I said, well, we must be doing something
Exactly.
right.
That's very, very good.
Because you're paying attention.
You're paying
he's
it
giving
forward.
his national service, and he's going to come back and give a community service.
Inspired a child.
Inspired him.
Inspired a child.
So service is very important. You want to know how to get rid of your heartache? Be of service. You want to know how to get rid of your pain? Be of service. Man told me one day his derriere hurt. That ain't the word he used, but since we worldwide, I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
He said his derriere hurt. I asked him what question. How often do you sit on it? He said, all the time.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Sitting down too much.
Sit down too much. Get up and do
exactly.
something.
Like my grandmother would say, go outside and let the wind blow on you, baby.
Oh, okay. So we're all about service here, and we said seriously, the reason that I say it's profitable for some not want you to have service is you got to remember something. Prisons are profitable. The necessity sometimes is called into question, but they're definitely profitable.
Right, it's
Without
a business.
doubt.
Yeah. That's another story for a day, but we're talking about service.
Right.
Tavis Smiley had a show the other day, and he had this lady, I can't remember her name.
Errecca Huggins.
That's her name.
Yes, she's an activist, and she was one of the original Black Panthers. And
Yes.
she was so instrumental in doing so many things that we had no idea about the Black Panthers. I mean, it was something that really transformed me in this one television the time that I spent watching her on Tavis Smiley, because you had no idea that there were so many women that were on the front line doing the things that needed to be done as far as the Black Panthers were concerned. And she said something that was very important about they wanted to provide a service to the community. Mm-hmm. And that was their main number one focus. Mission, and they started out with this breakfast that they would give to the children every morning. And she said since that breakfast was initiated, this is the same program that we have right now today for the feed breakfast to children in the morning. It's the same program that was initiated by the Black Panthers, which no one ever talks about this.
We looked at the same show then, because I'm a little bit older than Errecca, but I have heard of
a lot of
it.
bit older, but
I've had my participation, but there was one other thing that was interesting that was said too. Said that Hoover, he saw the men with the rifles, with the long rifles, open to carry.
Second Amendment rights. Second Amendment rights.
Came to him and said, "Well, what are we gonna do about these people over there?" He said, "I'm not concerned about them people with them rifles. I'm concerned about them people over there feeding them kids."
Exactly. That food program worried him.
So what I'm saying to you is this: the service of you is going to be important to other people who may take a position that is not necessarily profitable for them, for the community to be fed, and for the community to understand the importance of service. That's feeding the community.
However small that service may be. That's the importance, that thing that I would like to say. You know, it doesn't have to be loud and glaring. It could be you have a neighbor. Your neighbor has a child. The child has to be picked up from school. Your neighbor's at work. You can offer, well, I'll pick your child up. I mean, it could be something very, very small and minute. It doesn't have to be loud and glaring. Just do something to assist someone. That, and it will make a difference for you, because a small example that I want to give is that same neighbor, he's a doctor and a fireman, but I had no idea that because of the service that I had rendered to him by helping him with his daughter, picking her up from school, later that made an impact on him.
Well, I'm sure that we all are going to continue to put the banner out for service. We're coming up on the last 10 minutes of the show. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about next week. This is the Raymond Hall Show.
Meet Spectrum Enterprise.
All right, we are back, and with the few minutes we have left, we just want to kind of wrap things up. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the VA, the Department of Veterans Affairs, is second only to the Department of Defense. People experience many things when they go in service, and that's what the Department of Veterans Affairs is all about. They are there to help veterans with whatever issues, concerns that they may have. Remember the 2 Ps. Your P is this is what personally happened to me. Their P is we've got to work with the process. So make sure that if it's a family member or a loved one. Now, Mr. Williams is going to give us a few contact addresses, email addresses.
Yes, and numbers.
Okay.
And what I want to do really quickly too, just to hit a couple quick bullet points, and I'll take less than a minute.
Okay.
So just make sure that you go through the VA process, as Mr. Hall said, and get 20% rating in order to be qualified for Chapter 31. That's very important. You have your discharge paper saying that you're honorable or other than honorable, and those are what you need to start out. Then what you do is you can call 1-800-827-1000. Again, 1-800-827-1000, and that's a general benefits line that you can go to.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. We've got less than about 5 minutes. Let me do a couple of things. Number one, you can go to va.gov. Connect yourself with the portal. The portal is really, really good about letting you know where your claims and statuses and those things are.
Correct.
It's up to a rating board to give you any rating. We can't give you, nobody else can give you, private doctor can't give you a rating. The rating comes from the rating board. All the Department of Veterans Affairs medical facilities does is document what they see, whether it is something physical, mental, social, psychological. All the hospital is doing is treating you. It's the rating board that must give it a rate, but it must fit inside of that process. So that's one thing that's very important. If they give you 0, 20, or that's fine. So we want to thank you. We want to thank you for coming back because we had such an overwhelming outcry. Well, we didn't get to talk to him.
Yes.
All right, okay. Light the phones up again and you may see him again. I don't know. But we also added something else. We had an outpouring of people talking about the community. And I'm going to take an exception because normally I don't endorse anything. But recently I was in the community and I met Mrs. Walker's mother. And she produces cards that are not cards. You know how you get a card and it's pretty, so you leave it sitting there for a minute, and then after a while it like goes in the drawer, and after the drawer goes in, it gets, okay, like it's gone by. Okay. These cards are like art. You can put them on the wall. Okay. So I have asked Errecca if she would to get the information about her mother's business and to give it to us. So I'm kind of putting her on the spot because we normally don't promote things, but I want to promote our community because people talk all the time about I'm going to Hollywood, I'm going to Disneyland. You come on down here in the Leimert Park.
Yes.
Okay.
What I like to do is just give you a little bit of insight. My mom has a business. It's called Sonia's Pretty Cards, and they are very, very pretty. They're exciting and thrilling, and they can be found at Zara's Book and Things at 900 North La Brea Avenue, Inglewood, California, 90302. Now, the cards are something, she does customized cards. So if you go in and you have a card, and I want a card for my daughter-in-law's niece, she will have a way to make the card for you so it could be personalized. So please do take a look at Sonia's Pretty Cards at Zara's Bookstore.
Well, thank you so very much. Hate to cut you off, but we're running out of time. I was just overwhelmed with the cards, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the only reason that I did that. I think that we are so talented, and this is not talented as a people. We're just talented, and that's what the world likes to see. It likes to see pretty art talent. We're going to wind this thing down. We're going to say thank you. I definitely want to say thank you to my co-host for standing in the gap. I want to thank you to my friend and the man that's so knowledgeable about many VA things. Tavis Fowler says, keep the faith. When our brother, the Soul Train man was here, and he said peace and soul.
Love. Don Cornelius, love,
yes.
Peace and
soul.
Okay. What we are going to say to you is this. Have service. And with that, thank you for tuning in to the Raymond Hall Show. And given the blessings, we'll be back here. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and all of those kind of things, and we will respond to whatever you send us. Tell us what you want to hear or something that's interesting to you. We thank you. We love you. Have a good day and continue to be of service.
Thanks a lot, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.